All right, we are live, I'm pretty sure. Okay, sorry guys, I had to move myself into position. There we go. All right, here we go. Perfect. Alrighty, I think I'm happy with this. How are we doing? Yep, everything seems functional to me. Yep. Howdy, Xavier, good to see you. How's the child? Well, wouldn't you like to know? The child is doing, I think overall swell. She's starting to get a little better, but she's not quite at Hellion level quite yet. Like, she's still a little too chill for what I've been used to, for what I've become accustomed to, you might say. Yeah, just random drainage, you know? All right, that's where we had come from originally. Oh, actually, so this is... Yeah, so this is where... Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's over there. Somewhere over there was when we entered, right? And we went inside the tree above me. Yeah, it became this hollow here. Splits off over here. There we go. Yeah, but you know, she's in heat, so it's gonna be a boring time with her, having to keep her indoors and stuff. Thankfully, she can still probably get her vaccines, so hopefully we can get this last shot done for her and she'll be all good. Already helped with all the diseases and prevention and cures and all that. So hopefully once that's all resolved, it's just a matter of, okay, I still can't take you to the doggy park, but we'll just have to kind of wait and catch you up as best we can. Yeah, a lot of greenery here. There's a lot of Mikla lilies on this side, and I recall there being a lot of Ghost Glovewort on this side. I wonder if there's something significant. Like, it's like, okay, all these people are the actual Mikla worshippers, and these are all the Malenia worshippers. And I guess the idea was they would show just generic Glovewort to show the difference. That's the only thing I can think of. And all this is pretty standard. Yep, okay. Very clear little burial things. Do we see these tree models used anywhere else? Maybe they're retextured, but like, I feel like these are unique. That's just how it's feeling. Get a lot of these white tree and vine things, interestingly enough. Like how they have these trees instead of the line ones. Yeah, I think it's pretty useful. No, oh, so as in like no, no, they're not unique. They actually are used elsewhere. It's fascinating how like Melania doesn't really have a faction, quote unquote, right? At least not in the, you know, the traditional demigod sense, right? Like all the soldiers and stuff, they're all going to Mikoa. Right. She just has her clean rot knights and all the stuff that comes from her rot. No, they are unique. Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if these are the equivalent to the Altus trees, like the idea that the influence of the Halig tree gives them a similar white barky look, but obviously with like these red leaves instead. Hey, a lot of questions about Halig tree. I assume the red has to come from Mikola's blood and stuff like that, right? Like I have to assume that's the idea. Oh, the fallen leaves are telling a story, you could say. Hey, low budget dude. Welcome to the chat. All right. Yeah, we just have typical roots and stuff, like typical Erdtree root type things. Oh. It's funny how this is open. The embers don't get in here. Oh, they'd yeah, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. If I'm not even the boss arena, right? It's actually funny because this isn't even connected to anything really. You know, actually, okay, no, I shouldn't say that. It's technically connected to this trunk, right? So it's just kind of funny because it kind of like, you know, stops. Sap also has a bit of reddish stuff in it, if I recall correctly. I'm gonna have to go back and check on that sap. I wonder if it'd be easier to see in or it'd be easier to see in you know, just take it out of the game area. Look at it as like a raw model. Oh, this is fascinating though, because this isn't red. Some petals to go with the particles. Yeah, that makes sense though, because we have a lot of white flowers here, but this interests me. Fascinating. Because I don't remember there being a lot of yellow on the leaves elsewhere, but maybe I'm just not remembering correctly. Oh, sorry, chat. Man, ain't that a shot? It's you see at Loretta's boss room. We're gonna have to go back there then. There we go. Wonder what this place looked like when the Halig tree was healthy. Oh yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to see someone reconstruct it, you know? I recall the white being an effect of like affliction and stuff we've seen with like the death root with deep root depths. I want to assume the same here, but it could also be because we have a lot of white, especially up above, I think. So it could always be stuff that's just covering. There we go. These are rocks. Okay. Wait. No, that's wood. Yeah, that's wood. Okay. Yeah, the way the wood is covered here too. Okay, yeah, it has to be like a powdery substance, right? Because it's not just that, it's over here and stuff here. I mean, I don't think it's ash. Yeah, it's on the floor here too. Mikola hacked us big time. Yeah, you know, that is an appropriate way to think about it, right? We basically get hacked. We get dot hacked. Scarlet fungus is an interesting idea. Yeah. You'd see these flowers again at the sleep swamp. Oh, with Trina. Good to know. All right. I think it's just snow falling into the hollow from the mountaintops. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that, especially if the idea is that the climate here is still relatively cold. Like, let me think. Where else? But the thing is, like, why is it only the hollow, right? Like, I can believe this. This strikes me as believable with the snow and stuff. But shouldn't we see more of it over there? Why would it be specifically gathering there? I guess maybe the idea is that it's colder in the hollow than the rest of the area. I don't know if that sounds right. That's probably the best I could think of to justify it. Yeah, we'll go to Loretta's room to look at the set better. Oh. Sorry, chat. I'm feeling oh, I'm feeling mighty sleepy suddenly. This looks kind of like tree resin. Oh! Did not mean to make that jump. It's fine. We'll just go straight to Loretta's boss room. I don't care. The promenade. I forget what the JP for this was. All right. Yes, now I remember. Yeah, we found a lot of the sap in areas like this here. Yeah. Yeah, it looks a bit, it's got like that tree resin looks, but it's like more like brownish than orange it's looking like. Right? Yeah, it's got a bit more of that red tinge to it to make it look a bit more brown than orange. Oof. Right. This makes it look a little bit more greenish. Yeah, greenish brown with a red tinge to me. There, yeah. Do they still have the crowns they have in that other statue? Mikola does, and yeah, so does Melania. Interesting how old Melania looks here, right? Compared to Mikola. And this one portrays them both at looking relatively young. Like Melania looks a lot younger here. But she's still got a similar crown thing going for her. Interesting, she's not the one with the crown here, with the points here at the top. That's given to this figure, and she here. Yeah, she has a different type of crown here. Yeah, she's younger, different crown. Fascinating. Green to match with the Viridian medallion you find here. That actually makes a lot. That would definitely make sense. Considering, you know, they would give you that specifically. So yeah, maybe the idea is supposed to be that it's like got this like this mix of scarlet rot in there, and that's why it's oozing. So, oh yeah, you can see the little channel right here. Uh-huh. Yeah, the hollow here has a lot of that white, so let's... Old America statue probably takes your time when America stopped visiting them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be kind of representative of just like them, like, you know, them back then versus them now. Mikola's obviously still a babu, but Melania's of course an adult now. America's, you know, imprisoned. So it's just them two on their own. And it's supposed to kind of show the solidarity they have together as their factions join forces for this Halig Tree project. As I said before, I have my suspicions that Mikola may have started this project even before Marika got imprisoned, and that it's possible that Mikola's was involved in the Night of the Black Knives for the express interest. Cool. For the express purpose, essentially, of kind of getting Marika out of the way, so he can ascend to his whole godhood and everything. Kind of advance his plans there. So there's definitely the same material here. Right? I'm not sure if it's snow. But it's definitely the same material. I'm actually curious, did they actually model anything down here? Yeah, no. They're just like, yeah, solid white. It'll be good. I also forgot that there are cut necklace items, and one of them is a Haley Tree one with a green amber gem stained with blood. It looks like the dangling things hanging off of Miquella's actual crown. Oh, cool. I wonder if that's in the... That should be in the cut menu graphics, right? So I have to look at that. Yeah. Yeah, I think you guys might be right. It might just be... It just ends up in the hollow. I guess it's cooler down here. All right. Anywhere else I'd be really interested in looking? Not really. Origin, I think we've covered pretty thoroughly too. We got all the black knives and stuff. I don't remember if there's anything special worth noting about some of the others. Hmm. Wait, I just had a thought. What if these special butterflies are spirits of the dead ones on the ground? You mean the white butterflies that fly about? It could be. It'd be a little unconventional for spirits, but you could argue that the entire Haley tree is a bit unconventional, so. Yeah, okay. 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 The cut necklace would be fun to mention offhandedly in a Miquella doc. Yeah, for sure. That's the type of thing where it's like, okay, yeah, we should include that in the data set. Again, I'm gonna check actually, because I think I do have it. I think I do have cut menu graphics and stuff, so let me see. Yeah, that's textures. Graphics. What would something like this be? Do we have a separate thing for cut? Yeah, cut misc. Okay. Yeah, I was like, I think I remember what you were talking about. Yeah. Yeah, these here. Green gem covered in blood here. This one looks more like a... Oh no, that's also a green gem. It's just covered in blood. Yeah, this is where like my color blind comes in, because that green, if I don't look closely, it starts blending together and looks a bit more orangey to me from far away. But yeah, this one's also clearly green with red. Yeah, there's another one right here. This one doesn't have it. I wonder if the idea was you were supposed to like collect gems or whatever to unlock a path. It's just too, because it's a green gem with a drop and it's like at the bottom almost. I guess the idea was just to be creative with portraying, you know, like drops from the canopy of the tree. It might not be like a root type thing. Yeah, look, see here. Here's a separate. They have something similar here. This one I don't recognize. Maybe Farum Azula. Yeah, maybe. Let's see, doing that. Does Morgoth call the twins the twin prodigies in the JP text? Yeah, essentially. The prodigal twins. No, I don't think that. No, the prodigy twins, essentially. Yeah, twin prodigies would be fine. And yeah, we knew Melania was trained as a warrior because she learned from the blind swordsman and stuff. So yeah, she's already shown herself as that she's had a lot of experience, right? She proved her skill with a sword, right? You can definitely tell when someone has talent in that regard, whether or not they have, you know, what's the word? Live combat experience. Looks like something finger readers wear. Oh, maybe. That's defense. Erdtree crystal tears. Might be, yeah, might be Farum Azula related then, because, you know, the whole, you know, rock wall defending everything. I could see them. Oh no, that's definitely Erdtree crystal tears. Okay. Because if it was defense, I'd be like, yeah, definitely FA. But if you meant to say definitely. Yeah, I think the question would be like, what would be the context that this item would have where we would need to collect it? This would make sense though if the idea was to parallel the Erdtree and the Haligtree here, since we do see something similar. Yeah, they have all three of here broken. Okay, so this would actually have been, yeah, so these two would have been for the one, and the ones would come pre-bloodied. Oh, fascinating. I didn't even notice the cracks. If Melania is already trained by the blind swordsman pre-shattering, then the twins hugging statue would probably predate that, since she's got no prosthetic limb. Not necessarily, because it could just be metaphorical more than anything. Again, you should always be careful with that type of stuff, because, you know, statues aren't always trying to depict something like photogenically, right? Like, it's not a photo. Statues are ultimately, you know, they're artwork that are trying to convey a message. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, some of these, I've not looked at these in God knows how long. This one I remember being like a generic thing from an NPC. Isn't this the symbol for like the mausoleums or like a cut generic set or something like that? This one I think is the most interesting just because we have like a face here. Kind of reminds me again of the Raya thing. I don't know if that would be it specifically. God, wouldn't... I know it would be for a dream thing, but imagine you got a land octopus summon, like a full giant land octopus summon. Yeah, the dream stuff with the various animals. God, Dream Dragon, man. I'm kind of disappointed the dream thing never got brought in. It just seems like such a cool thing. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked at these because I focus so much on the regular game. But yeah, I need to be incorporating cut content more. Looking at some of this stuff here. Like, this is obviously like a Gelmir thing. I've seen this before. I've seen people bring this one up before. Let me, there you go. Like, this has definitely appeared before. Be fascinating to know what item descriptions might have been attached to some of this stuff. It has to be like a Mikola hair thing, right? I feel like I vaguely recall there being lore for this that has been talked about previously, but I don't know. Anyway, that's enough there. All right, so focused on that. Yeah. Yeah, only thing really would need or be worth answering are questions about why Ordina is in such a sorry state. Like, is this supposed to be like the result of... is this supposed to be like a result of stuff back with the Giant War and it just never got repaired? I doubt that. But who would... I guess the idea is, could it be visitors who don't want to go through the trial and so they try destroying Ordina or, like, you know, pillaging or something? Maybe that's the idea. Because only really the homes here on the outskirts closest to where people are making their pilgrimage from. Yeah, so many cooler menu graphics. Or cool menu graphics in general. Are you guys walking or do you always just stand here? I don't remember that. I guess Albinorks here could be... No, that doesn't really make sense because they're clearly like Miquella guys. So unless there's like some really good reason why they don't want to do that. I guess Mohg. Mohg would be probably the best excuse I can think of, right? Like Mohg and his forces. Because somehow Mohg and company have to... They have to basically get... If the idea is supposed to be they took Miquella and like... Somehow they had to get him back from the tree, but basically... The idea is supposed to be they took Miquella and they had their little shortcut or whatever it was here, prepared for them to kind of get away. That implies they had to use it to get here, and then they used it to get there, and then kind of fought their way through, I suppose. So I guess that would be the idea, that this is the result of Mohg's forces. Then we get that. Yeah, okay. So I think that covers pretty much all that stuff I would want. And then, like, you know, Albinork's Rise and all the pilgrimage thing. I read how extensive some of the Albinork women here, by, you know, just knowing there's like a few there versus all of them over here. That'd be all Death Prince. Actually, I think this would all still be Miquella. Yeah, we know how the Gelmir stuff goes, so that's nothing too crazy. Right. Right. Don't need to bring you up. Yeah, okay, nothing. Be brought up here. I vaguely recall, aren't there Melania rot Mirandas here? Yeah, yeah. I wonder if the idea, like, this is Marae basically bringing back some rot from the Lake of Rot and essentially, you know, engineering the Mirandas here for Scarlet, because clearly this is normal poison, right? Like this isn't Scarlet Rot, so you had to get the rot from somewhere to create these guys. All right. And we have the Clean Rot Knights and stuff that have come to stay. Actually, that could be another explanation. If the Clean Rot Knights have rot on them, then that could also be a source for where the good Lord found it. So that could definitely work. I still have questions about these things if the because we don't see them used everywhere. So I'm not sure if it's really can be considered a universal thing. So I do wonder if there's actually a reason or cause for these specific formations, right? Because they're really limited to Gelmir. I don't think we really see any in East Altus. So Gelmir, Shaded Castle, obviously Liurnia. Though I can't remember if it's in southern Liurnia too, or if it's just in the northern. I think it might be here on this left side. Also, the mysterious rot butterflies on the tower. Well, those butterflies appear where we see like rot and stuff like that, generally, right? So it's not too crazy. Actually, do we see any in Lake of Rot? I actually don't remember. That I do not recall. Yeah, we do see similar. Okay, yeah, it does exist. Okay. There's actually more of these things than I remember. All the way to Storm Hill here. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they're more universal than I thought. And they're just kind of like generic rock formations and stuff. Yeah. Because it basically stops once you get away from Storm Hill. Like, I'm pretty sure there's nowhere in Limgrave that has these formations. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's pretty standard with the cliffs and all that. Turns out rocks are rocks. Yeah, it's a lot more widespread. So if there is a specific reason for them, it's not immediately obvious to me. I think it could indicate sinking. Maybe, I don't know. Cause we have a lot of poison pools and stuff outdoors and things like that. It feels like if the idea is it's going to be sinking, does it be more commonplace then? But really, it seems to be very regional. I'm pretty sure we don't see any of these in the mountaintops either, right? Maybe up here at Church of Repose would be a good one because there's a lot of other stuff there, so I might be able to find the formations. No, it says pretty standard. You know, they use different formations. A lot less squarish. Now, a real mystery are these sky wolves. That's something you should solve. Yeah, the sky wolves. It'd be funny if it's something just as simple as, like, you know, wolves just kind of like stick around and eventually they learn how to like fly on the wind or something. It's not here for sure. Yeah, Caelad's pretty clear. Maybe at the farm stuff, I don't recall particularly. No, no. There we are. Okay. I'm watching you guys. Now I have to be worried about you guys committing cannibalism. Well, is it really cannibalism if you're not human? If you're just a man-eater, you know? Who said that men have to be man-eaters, you know? If animals can do it, why not? Why not, vulgar militia? Yeah. It almost seems like the idea is they want to keep it within this western area. And if true, that begs a lot of questions. Like, what is it about that area that would produce those formations, you know? There's always gonna be on my mind. Man, I'm just yawning so much. I feel like I'm doing that every stream at this point. Granted, I will admit, doing streams this late has it does take a toll. Yeah, no, not here either. Whoa! Wasn't looking there. Almost got myself killed. Yeah, so gives me a solid idea. So I also find it interesting that we have the ants here. I assume the idea is because Miquella has probably been to the Eternal Cities, which would be the explanation for him, his knowledge and his, or yeah, you know, the designs he can contribute to the Wandering Mausoleums, right? I have to imagine the idea is that he brought back some of those ants for whatever reason. I guess the only other explanation I could like kind of try to force is the idea maybe Mohg brought him from underground and they got left behind, but that's just kind of weird. It's like, Mohg, what the hell were you bringing with you that a bunch of ants end up getting left there, you know? Misbegotten, very easily justifiable with the slaves in Leyndell. We have the cocoon things, again, justifiable with what we see with Miquella. It seemed like the idea was that his entire cocoon was inside, embedded in the tree, right? Yeah, Miquella's gonna be an interesting one to ponder upon. So let's see. Yeah, Miquella stuff over there. Maybe something like there. Where you going, girly? She just wants to... Okay, she wants to go lay down elsewhere. That's fine by me. A jail cave. Yeah, I talked about Death Prince is going to get some cool stuff with the gladiators. I'm happy about. Also want to probably add gladiators, like an expansion on gladiator stuff to the Age of Plenty. I also want to do it, like, there's several expansions I want to do. I want to do an expansion Nomadic Merchants because of Three Fingers stuff, because I focus a lot on the Shabriri stuff, but I think there's still more I could talk about in terms of Shabriri's infamy, like the names of incantations after him, or the Shabriri grapes, you know, stuff like that. And then just the Three Fingers stuff, like with the 4-foot fowl, you know, the 4-fingered fowl, or whatever, the 4-toed fowl, whatever that's called. I forget what it is. And we have this Shaded Castle Ramparts, Castellan's Halls, Gelmir campsites. Yeah, Gelmir campsites in its proper place. Yeah, okay. There we have the Hermit Village down there. Now, I want to double check something here. I had a few questions. So it's Leyndell's forces here. We move on. Nothing really indicative of too much else. All right, stay hydrated, chat. Just remember to stay hydrated. Good old H2O. I forget if talking to him makes him disappear or whatever. Just hiding out, yeah. And just normal. Nothing really. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if the idea was that, like, this guy, this noble, this lord of this this fort had like his own army and they got replaced with the Leyndell garrison, or he always had it and he was kind of just like, you know, a sleeper, you know, not really a sleeper agent, but you know, like a kind of just like a turncoat the whole. Just had a few questions regarding the order of events with this guy specifically. All right, that answers that. More of these lavender flowers. Just like with our good old pale Godefroy over here, and a few other places I recall. Okay, this we have doing so. Nobles over here, more Gelmir stuff over here. Melania stuff, if I recall. Shaded Castle, Stillwater Cave, Tombsword Cave. Seethe Water? Yeah, Seethe Water Cave definitely has it. Yeah, I remember now. So, yeah, not that much. And obviously in Caelid stuff, of course. Covers that. Yeah, honestly, we're starting to basically cover like every topic and have that basically all sorted. There might be some stray items and stuff I'm forgetting, but like a lot of it's actually getting nicely classified. Look at what we got here, like, oh boy, 16 pages as is, and there's so much more to still do. All right, and then yeah, have to add that here. just talking about the forces they made to give a general overview before we get into, but the war fighting didn't start right away. Then we go into Morgott. Yeah, gotta type out the runes and all that stuff and the setup for the demigods. Yeah, this ended up being, this stuff on the Shattering, it's ended up being a lot larger than I was initially expecting it would be. Surprisingly, a lot I gotta break down and dissect. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Sorry, chat. Need to stay hydrated again. All right. Yeah, there's nothing on Storm Hill that I think are still left, right? There's just like land octopuses in the pools and things. That's nothing that weird. Catacombs and stuff, no. I think we cover most of the relevant items. Here. Dragon Communion here. Minor archery there. Yeah, I do talk about it. I do recall that. Okay. Highway South, Cathedral, Waypoint, that's Melania stuff. A lot of astrologer stuff I definitely need to start writing out though, because I've had that stuff basically all documented away for a while now. Moog stuff, I don't think there's that much. Like, there's obviously the Rose Church. I would make an argument that they intended it to be left as the Japanese Bara. Kind of like how we have Irith here. I think the intention was more to make a pun than just literally call it the Rose Church, but it works. It's fine. It's fine. This is a different story. This is all a shit show. There is so much more. There's so much more to go through. I just don't want to because I know I already see all the problems with the Mesmer stuff. Oh, this one's not gonna be a fun one. I can just tell you. Mausoleums are kind of interesting to me because this whole like bounding spirit aspect to them. Yeah, there's the east one. Oh, the east one is so far away from the others. Like, you got these three, and they're relatively close. And then the east one's like, oh, yeah, all the way over here, buddy. It's so far away. No, I think I'm thinking Rahab. Yeah, that's the one that I'm thinking of. I'm like, isn't that a sea monster? No, I think that's Rahab, right? Okay, yeah, that's for Lana, right? So yeah, okay. Her chamber has Karian statues. What a shocker. And Blue Flame. Don't see that in the fireplace too often. Lol. Alright, we always have the Blood Fiends and stuff. I like River Cave. I don't remember. I don't think it's still alive, but I don't remember the if there are anything like really notable Trina related before we get to the boss room. Also, is it fair to say that these crosses are probably made in the shape of his Great Rune before it was obviously, you know, smashed to smithereens? Is it fair to say that, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. the great runes we see. One second, I want to make sure we have. Don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. There we go. Almost all the enemies here deal sleep. Yeah, that might be with it. So, Golden Lineage, Ronnie, you know, Renala kids, Renala kid, Golden Lineage. Is this the, I think this is the rebirth rune, right? Yeah, it kind of looks like the rebirth rune. This is Melania. Again, Golden Lineage. So based on like the pattern. Yeah, it's his great rune. You can see from his broken one at Melania's. At Melania's? So we definitely shouldn't be looking at it like this. It should be looked at like this when we first approach. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that makes sense. There we go. Okay. So Renala, Melania, and Mikola all have runes that are on the right side. Golden Lineage have like central, like symmetrical runes. And then Rykard, Radon, and presumably Ronnie have the left side. As far as where the stock would be positioned, right? So... yeah. Yeah. This makes me now curious what Ronnie's great rune would have looked like, you know? Yeah, you know? With the siblings and stuff, you know? I remember that Morgott and Margit are specifically mentioned to be similar since they are twins. Yeah, they are twins. They have similar great runes because they're both Golden Lineage babies and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. That part. That part we have covered. Yeah, fascinating. The fact that he makes the cross look like that, yeah. Do you not have his broken rune graphic? It's probably under DLC stuff. I have not looked at it. Yeah, here we go. Scholar of the... Sorry, Shadow of the Erd Tree, icons. Okay. I know it's around here somewhere. Yeah, maybe I should subdivide this folder. Oh, the cut stuff for the, we were looking at with the gems is in here too. That's interesting. No, that's not it. Oh, this one's gonna be hard to find. Yeah, there's so much crap. With the armor and weapons and stuff. Oh my god. Alright, is under key items? Maybe if I look in that grouping. Alright, this isn't it, right? No. Actually, I have no idea what that is. That might be cut content. Like, I do not recognize that. Looks like part of a statue or relief with a leaf in it. Maybe let's just... Show on your character at least. It's technically a tool. Yeah, I guess I should look here then. Oh, see, blind. How can I miss it? Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, no, those are just the meats. Okay, yeah, okay. Huh. I must be blind. How the hell am I missing this thing? Because you get it from the Shadow Tree avatar, right? If I recall correctly. So I remember vaguely it being like a shattered pile. Probably driving myself nuts for no reason. Uh-huh. Let's see. Yeah, no, I just don't see it. I feel like I looked at every single one, every line. Yeah, no idea. Oh well. It's all alone on a row and to the far left when it comes to Miquella. Let's see. Oh wait, is this? Yeah, this is Miquella's one. Okay, no, it's not all alone. It's here in these. All right, so we have Miquella's here. Okay, so I should have it. It should be somewhere in what we got here. It's just so small. My eyes are just like glazing over. I think. Oh yeah, I found it. Yeah. Okay, my eyes. Of course, it's right after I find it in game. I find the exact thing. All right. There we go. I don't really see anything clear looking at this. Like if you told me the rune like had the line horizontal at the bottom, I could theoretically believe you because it just doesn't really look. Doesn't really look like what we have here. Let's actually let's move things this way. So there we go. Yeah, it just looks like a shattered bunch of pieces to me. I don't really get the sense of the original shape here. Like I said, though, at least we know what it is. I would really love to have known if Ronnie's differed from Radahn and Rykard's, or if she also followed the pattern. I wonder if there's an idea generally, now that I bring that up. Because this would be if you were doing the Golden Order totality thing, right? Like, this would obviously be the middle. This would be the right, on your right. If you were, you were doing it to, like, let's say I was looking at someone doing the totality, right? So that person's right would have the Rykard, Ronnie, and Radahn stuff. Golden Lineage is the center. And then Rennala and the two twins. I guess that makes sense because Radigan would be doing it during his reign, so it'd be generally the same area as, like, the same era as, like, Mikola Melania's births, right? So I guess that does make sense in terms of, like, timeline stuff. Because, again, just not, you know, not like any of this is that important, just kind of funny how we have runes that would be, that would all happen to be perfectly suited to certain demigods based purely on happenstance. I'd say Morgott and Margit and Morgott would be. I assume you meant, yeah, sorry, Morgott and Moog. Yeah. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, Morgott and Moog. I mean, the idea is supposed to be. The idea is still supposed to be, it's supposed to be a central rune proving their golden lineage and stuff like that, right? There definitely seems to be this idea that the runes are become associated with certain demigods because of what they represent as much as anything. So for the Karian siblings, they seem to all, of course, get grouped together as being like born from Radigan and stuff during his sorcery time. And then you have Renala, Mikola, Melania getting coming to be during the incantation time. And then you have, of course, the golden lineage at the center because they're like the foundation of it all. I'm not looking to who's acceptable necessarily, Night Scout. That said, I think we have both those gestures. Yeah, inner order, golden order, totality, outer order, right? Right. All right. And then, yeah, Mesmer doesn't have one. Renala, again, technically has one, though she's not a demigod. Ronnie's is the only one that's really MIA, so we don't know how exact it would, but obviously Godwin and others with mending runes of death don't really count. Yeah, there's not too much there, right? And then this stuff. These guys, I'm not surprised to see him down here. I'm surprised though with the additional moves and stuff. And I don't know if the idea is supposed to be like there's so much power they can generate from like these stones here that they're absorbing. Yeah, no idea. All right. In that case, yeah, I think this is a good place to stop for me. A little bit of a shorter stream, but as I was saying earlier, I'm very happy with what I got here with Margit. Good old Fel Omen gets good coverage here in the Shattering. I still have some more stuff I want to focus on and things like that. Like I have to talk about as we were going through yesterday with the nobles and the knights and the soldiers and stuff like that. I got to get all those vignettes kind of crammed in here. I feel like I'm probably going to end up cutting this, but it depends. I have to like really think about when and how are we going to be talking about the Eternal City stuff, because Nameless Eternal Cities like Fate and everything will be talked about in Eternal Cities in general. It's gonna be a bit of a timeline jump, but I think that's just the best place to have it and talk about it overall, and then everything else can just be further contextualizing it. I don't know though, I just don't know about, let's see, moving there. There, yeah, okay, I got that. I just don't know where exactly I should put it, because it's like, okay, well, is it, I don't think it would go in, I don't think it could maybe go to Tarnished, but I don't think so. I think maybe it would be best here if I talk about the Shattering and I talk about, yeah, if I end up talking about both the Shattering and then kind of like for the legacy of it, we could talk about good old Nameless Eternal City. Yeah, that could work. There we go. The rune arc formation on the moon might imply what Ronnie's Great Rune looked like. Maybe? I don't know. I feel like that could be unrelated and just be about the moons. They also have the halos in the tower. Yeah, I feel like that covers everything for now. Yeah. Because there's not too much here other than the Trina stuff, and I don't want to grab that. I'm pretty sure I already have some shots of it anyway, but I'll double check next time. I've never liked that theory. Oh, you mean the moon rune thing? And this guy's a horn scent, right? Actually, it looks like a normal dude. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, good to know. With what we already have known and established, I feel like that's enough data collection on Melania and Mikola. Like I said, Chattering still got a bit, but I think it's coming together fine. It's just figuring out really what I'm going to do about the Nameless Eternal City stuff, and then by extension, the prisoner sorcerer ball stuff. That's all kind of interconnected. It just feels like a really weird vignette for something where it's like it's Morgott and some general stuff, and then like we're talking about this now with Nameless Eternal Cities, but it is kind of relevant to Morgott's reign and stuff, so it might be something separate. It would also help me substantiate wanting to make this an entire separate section. Either way, I'm feeling the exhaustion hit, and I think we've done this long enough where I've covered everything I wanted, so I'm gonna end things here. Thanks so much, guys. Yay. The doggo, if the doggo continues behaving, tomorrow we might do a longer stream earlier in the day, so we'll see how that goes. But until then, cha-ta!